everybody, and welcome to another great episode of My EdTech Life. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Tuesday. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful Tuesday. Those of you that have already started classes and have had kids back into the classrooms, I hope that the start to your year is going well. And again, just thank you so much for joining us this evening, anywhere that you are in the world. As always, thank you for making us part of your listening and viewing pleasure. And I am just excited about today. Today, we get to not meet again, but actually, yeah, I get to meet with Logan again. Logan has been a previous guest on the show, and we were talking about AI, and we're talking about Auto Classmate, which is a platform that he has created. So I'm just excited to catch up with Logan again after a couple of episodes, and a couple of episodes for us. That really means couple of months for sure in between episodes. So, Logan, I'm just excited to welcome you back to the show. How are you doing this evening?
Fonz, thanks so much for inviting me back on the show. I am doing really well today. Just started our school year this week, and so I'm back in the thick of it. And I'm excited to have this conversation with you, catch up, and see how things are going for you as well.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited to catch up with you. And obviously, I'm very thankful that you reached out again, to say, hey, you know what, we're doing some great things, some updates. And right then and there, as you know, and like I tell everybody on the show, and you're a testament to that, that once you are a guest on Maya Tech Life, you always have an open invitation to come back. And once you reached out to me, you said, hey, we've got some new things coming up since the last show and everything. I said, hey, let's get you on. Let's make this happen. And just so we can share with the world everything that you've been doing since. However, Logan, since now that you're back, we may have some audience members who are still maybe not connected with you or maybe a little bit familiar with your work. So before we get into the meat of the conversation, which I'm really excited about, I would love for you to just give us a little brief introduction and what your context and education is.
Sure. So, hello everyone. I am Logan Greenhaw. I'm an eighth grade English language arts teacher at a public school in Hendersonville, North Carolina. This is my third year teaching officially, and I still feel very new. I think on the last episode of my EdTech Life, I mentioned that I felt new back then, and my update is I still feel like a brand new teacher every day and feel like I am not always sure what I'm doing, and that's why I love the job. Is there's always something new every
Uh,
day.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you still have that freshness because honestly, for being an educator, sometimes we need to look forward to that and just a fresh start. It's a clean slate, it's a new year, learning from the previous year or years that we have, and just trying to see how we can go ahead and adapt to the current situation. And in this day and age, what we're talking about as far as current situation is, of course, the world of AI. As we know, back since November of 2022, and maybe even a little bit sooner, this conversation has been taken off, and those two letters have just filled many, many rooms, and of course, have caused some fear, have caused some excitement, have caused some uncertainty. And today I want to just talk to you a little bit more as how you are navigating that space, and obviously how that led you to your current work, not just as an educator, but of course as the founder and creator of Auto Classmate. So, Logan, take us back just a little bit. I know you were on previous episode, and we'll definitely link that on the show notes so you can get more of Logan's origin story and go deeper. But just so we can give a little bit of context as we talk a little bit about Auto Classmate. Logan, Auto Classmate, just talk to us as far as what sparked that inspiration for you to come up with this wonderful platform.
Yeah, so let's see. I before I was a teacher, I was in the web development world, and I still am in the web development world. I work with clients all over the country as much as I can, but that was kind of a skill set I had before teaching. And when AI started to kind of come onto the scene more publicly, really back in January of last year, I started to see some folks speak out on social media about like the potential, yes, risks and concerns about AI when it pertains to education, but also the potential benefits of what like more public facing models and platforms could do for folks that are in classrooms on a daily basis. And so, as a web developer, as soon as I was given or gained access to the tools and resources I needed to integrate my own platform and create my own platform, I started working on that in January of this year, and when I gained access to ChatGPT and started using that kind of consistently as I was crafting my own lessons and ideas, I started developing some prompts, and I quickly realized that I could, use my background in web development, my access to AI, and kind of fuse these passions together to help not just me in the classroom, but also start developing tools that were free and accessible to other educators around the world. And that's what launched Auto Classmate back in January of this year. And it's just kind of grown and shifted incrementally as I've had time over the past couple of months. And it's been really exciting to see that growth.
Absolutely. And that's something that I love to see is someone like yourself. You have that very specific skill set as far as software engineering, but the way that you're merging that technology and that tech background and merging it with your current role, which is teaching, and just marrying those two and coming up with a solution for not only yourself. Maybe that was the intent at first, to say, hey, this is what can help streamline my process and my workflow. But now it's helping out countless teachers that are out there, and I see this happening in a wonderful way. The fact that educators such as yourself have that heart to build something, build a solution, build an option that can help our educators gain back some of that time. So now, as you told us a little bit here, as how that idea came about, that sparked Auto Classmate, I want to ask you now, following through since January and now the beginning of a new year, what has been at least your perception of AI in the classroom, not only as a creator but as a practitioner, and what is it that you are seeing possibly in your current district as far as the use of AI? What has that conversation been like?
So it's a wonderful question, and I'd say the beginning of this school year compared to the like last week or the last week of the previous school year, night and day different in terms of like the enthusiasm, concern, and general conversation about AI. It felt like at the end of our last school year that there were conversations, there were concerns, there were ideas being thrown around, but there was not kind of a buzz about it like there is right now. Right now, it's so public. There's so many more tools, so many more platforms out there that everyone is aware of, everyone's using. And paired with that is also, I'm hearing a lot more teachers, not just in my school, but in our district as a whole, voicing their concern about students using AI and how to navigate that. And not even necessarily about like plagiarism, but more so of like a genuine concern of, hey, what are we supposed to do in this scenario on a daily basis? Because we all know that the students know what AI is and they're using it. And so the question becomes, okay, who's responsible for kind of guiding and coaching and ensuring that this generation that we're trying to coach and teach on a daily basis knows about these things and is, receiving kind of ethical guidance in some way as they're going to use it, not just now in the classroom, but throughout their whole lives in their work environments.
Yeah, and that's something that's very important. And now, something that I want to come back to that you said is, the teachers know that this exists, and the teachers know that students whether it's on campus or maybe they may be on a campus that does not permit the use of it. They know that they will still be able to use it outside of campus because they may not be able to guard that, or even on their mobile devices and so on. But I love the question that came out from that is who is supposed to be leading, the instruction and, just making sure that our students are using this technology properly. But not only them, but how are we supposed to use it or implement it on a day to day? So now my question to you is, with Auto Classmate, what was your vision with that as far as how can this suite of tools help teachers maybe answer those questions as far as how it could be used on the day to day? What was your vision for it, and how has that vision, grown into fruition?
Yeah, so originally the vision was kind of twofold. On the one hand, I recognized quickly that AI can sincerely save you time. Like everyone is aware of that at this stage that's using it, I think. It can streamline processes, it can create all kinds of documents, video, presentations, like all these tools are there and they can save you time, which frees you up to, be more present with your kids in the classroom, or focus more on taking care of yourself, or spending more time outside of the school building with your family or enjoying your hobbies. AI can save time, and that was part of my original vision. But the other kind of big component, that I'm much more interested and focused on now is how do we use and leverage AI to drive engagement and optimize student learning every single day? And so that's kind of the big piece of it, is how does AI, or how can AI, like, augment our own instructional practices in the classroom? How do we make it even better so that the students are more engaged and they're enjoying, like, actually learning the things that we desire them to know every single day? That's the real gift, in my opinion, of AI right now.
Yeah, and for me, one of the things that I love about all the platforms that we're seeing is you mentioned the engagement component. Oftentimes, it's, the teachers, we have our certain curriculum, we have our resources that are given to us by our school district, central office, whomever it may be. We get those, and let's just say that they may not be the most engaging or the most exciting lessons, but that's where the teacher, I always say, is more of that learning engineer, where they take, that base that's given to them and they try to engineer a wonderful learning experience from it. But as we know, it does take that time to, come up with that. But now with what we're seeing, I think that this can really and has taken that engagement to a whole other level where students are actually getting excited about what they're seeing because they might be possibly going in deeper. But even I think it raises some excitement within the teachers themselves in the fact that they can take those lessons that and resources that they have had, and they can either upload them or copy and paste certain things from it and get a whole new learning experience out of it that can be manipulated in such a way to meet the needs of not just one student, but every student if they needed to personalize. But I think that this is really exciting and really exciting times for education. And at least that's the way that I see it. So, yes, engagement for me is the big plus on that. So, I love that. So, Logan, now that you're back in the classroom, I know you mentioned, 2 days in and so on. I want to know just from your perspective, not the creator perspective of, creator of Auto Classmate, but as an educator, what are your plans for this year, as far as implementation of AI within your classroom?
So it's a great question, and so there are kind of two different sides to this question. On the one hand, and this kind of reiterates the point that I think we were just discussing, is, um, Pretty much on a daily basis now. I really do use my own platform to kind of augment what I'm already planning on doing. For the most part, I think a temptation for myself is if I know on a given day, like tomorrow, I know what I'm going to go into that classroom and teach. And I could do it the same way I did it last year, but I could also use AI to look at the what I am planning on doing and maybe, just maybe, find a few new, more engaging ideas or ways to make what I am planning for tomorrow even better. And if I have that capability, uh, why would I not do that? I've already experienced, as we've kind of been planning out our first couple of weeks within our professional learning community, like the benefits of not just like recycling the same things that we've done, but like let's use what we enjoyed about it, but let's also maybe augment it or add a few more dynamic things within this same lesson that we're planning, but just to make it better, more engaging, or if we need to differentiate because we recognized last year, hey, it didn't go so well for this demographic of students. Why don't we come up with something new or something that's a little bit different for them to hopefully maybe hit the points that we're trying to really drive home. So that's like on the one hand, it's my perspective, the teacher perspective. So I'm planning on continuing to use it pretty much on a daily and weekly basis to make what my plans are even better. And then on the other hand, it's, well, I am very aware. I've seen it done multiple times now. Since the end of this last school year, students are using it. They're going to use it. When I ask them to write research papers or conduct research or write or use their laptops, I already know that they have access to this, that, and the other tools at their disposal. And the plan, kind of moving forward, is to be honest with them. And that's, I think, the thing I'm going to hold to is be honest with them, not shy away from the conversation, but owning that this is a reality that we're all trying to navigate simultaneously. And just as I'm using AI, they're going to be using it too. The question is, how do we ensure that students are still learning within the process? And I think that there are all kinds of ways that's going to unfold as the months or the weeks and months go on. But my main philosophy with it is I'm going to be as honest and transparent as I can be when they're talking and using AI.
Absolutely, and that's so great. Before we continue, I want to give a shout out to Tanya who's joining us in the chat, and I wanted to bring up one of her comments too as well. It says, as far as AI is concerned, it will help our students with critical thinking and encourage them to engage deeply with their coursework. It is up to us to make sure we guide our students to properly use the platform. So absolutely. Now, one of the things here that she mentioned, and of course and you yourself too, is as us, the responsibility as educators is really, we also need to make sure that we get that professional development and those skill sets and just overall knowledge to be able to use and implement these tools. But I think the fact that a platform like Auto Classmate is so straightforward and it's easy to navigate, low barrier to entry, and might I say it's one of those oh, actually, I'll add to this. I'll say that it's one of those platforms where a teacher can really get clicky with it and really experiment and really see what they can do. And so I think that as the tools are coming out, that is definitely a big thing as far as low barrier to entry, but just with great return on instruction. And I think for a lot of educators, that is kind of maybe their big concern as far as the return on instruction. Because yesterday I had the honor of speaking in front of our fine arts department, talking about technology, and I was talking directing to the or this was directed to our art courses, and I was showing them a little bit about what Adobe Express can do with the text to image, and you've got Canva text to image, and some things that they can do with Firefly as teachers, because I told them to, we need to be very cautious with the age restrictions and so on. So one of the comments was from a teacher was stating like, that's too much of a finished product. Like, what else is there to do? Like and I think that that kind of resonates with a lot of teachers saying, well, they're just going to pop it into chat gpt or anything else, and it's just going to spit out a finished paper. But what I did tell him, and you said it, very well within your comment, was it's redefining the way we used to do things, and really taking it to that next level. So I told him, I said, look, although this is a great tool that's going to help a student visualize that final product, there's still steps that are taken along the way to get to that final product, which in this case was the learning of, okay, what artist are we studying? What was the background? What style is it? And you're still learning that background knowledge. But at the end, this was the student's visualization and interpretation of that art style. But I said, now that you went digital, couldn't you go backwards too and say, hey, now let's do it in this modality with paper layering, or we can go back to the canvas and draw it, but at least the student has a nice reference point. And, it was great to get those conversations going because, with the SAMR model, we always talk about, substitution, augmentation, we talk about modification, redefining, and so on. And oftentimes we only get to the substitution where we'll just use one platform to go from paper to digital, form. But now tools like Auto Classmate and other tools out there are allowing teachers to redefine the learning and going in a different direction. And I think that's so exciting. So I'm excited to hear about your year turns out as you continually use it and you grow, with your students. So let me ask you something. At least in these last 2 days, have you used AI, or have your students had the opportunity to use AI in your classroom? And if so, what has been their reaction to it? Is it something that they're already familiar with, or were there a couple of students that were like, oh wow, like this is amazing?
Yeah, so, they it's really funny. So they, student-wise, they and I guess teacher-wise now, my coworkers kind of know me as the AI guy now. So within my school, it's like, "Oh, okay, this is now a public thing." Because last year, they actually saw, a clip from your TikTok page with me on it. A student found it and then shared it, and then it was like, "Oh, okay, that's Mr. Greenhall." And so that's like an unavoidable reality here. And at our school, they actually currently don't have their school given laptops yet, and so we've been doing everything on pen and paper for yesterday and today, which has been weird for them because they have had a Chromebook for so long now. And this first couple days, we're actually intentionally kind of not giving it to them, and it's bizarre, but they're also asking these questions. Um, and as an educator, I've been using Auto Classmate. I used it today to help revise a warm up that I had already had planned. And this morning during my planning period, I was like, you know what? I think I would like to rehash how I'm going to ask this specific question in this warm up. And so I used it to change it and make it a little bit more interesting. And instantaneously just updated my warm up slide for this morning. And then it was weird yesterday. One of our assistant principals walked by, and she said, "Hey, Mr. Greenall, thanks so much. We had a teacher that wasn't able to make it this morning, and I used Auto Classmate to make our sub plans for that specific teacher." And I was like, "Wow, that's super cool. Thanks for letting me know." And it's just like, in those moments of the unexpected, or that 5 minutes of free time that you have to maybe make a quick change to a lesson, we now have that easy access to do that, which is, again, that's one of the huge gifts of AI for right now. And I know it's going to change as the months go on.
Absolutely, and that's so good to hear because I love to hear those kind of success stories, and that was kind of like what I was going to ask later on. But now that you're talking about it, I think that with your experience and your administrator coming in saying, "Hey, Mr. Greenhaw, we used your platform to create sub plans," because again, in education, you have to have the ability to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And now the tools are getting that much better. Where before, I remember they would say, "Hey, make sure that you always have that red folder, that red subfolder, with in case of an emergency." But honestly, Logan, like you never know when an emergency is going to happen. You don't think about those things often, and then when they do, it's like, well, you didn't get your folder done, and it's almost punitive that you were out because you were sick, but because that folder wasn't done. But now, with the tools, whether it may be a teacher that may be teaching the same thing, can immediately come up with something for that class, or in this case, a wonderful administrator not fearing the tech, getting clicky with it, and saying, "Hey, check out what we were able to do, getting some lessons plan done for teachers that were out, I'm just like blown away, and I hope that a lot of educators and a lot of administrators see that potential of the way that these platforms and these instruments are doing some great things for our students and for our teachers as well. All right, excellent. Well, let's go ahead and get a little bit deeper into the meat of things, Logan. So, again, I know from the last time that you were on the show till now, there some time has transpired, but we know that in the time, as far as AI is concerned, I mean, a lot has happened since the last time that you were on. But I definitely want to talk a little bit more about your platform. And I know that you have made, some, or have added some new components to your platform, and we're definitely excited to see that. So let me go ahead and bring up your screen here into the stream, and you can go ahead and give us a walkthrough. And please just give us an overview at first too, because this may be the first time that some people may be familiar with your platform and with your work, and then we'll dive into some of the new stuff that you have added.
Sure. That sounds like a great plan. So, yeah, back when we spoke on the first podcast, there are actually really only three tools that I had created, and they're still super popular. People use them every single day. These are 100% free tools. So, my first tool that I ever made was called the Activation and Engagement Activity Generator, which is just a simple tool that you can use to basically make engaging activities out of anything that you're wanting your students to learn. And you can select a grade level, and it'll generate unique activation and engagement opportunities for students. My personal favorite was the Would You Rather question generator, also a completely free tool that generates 10 unique would you rather style questions that are really, you can focus them on any kind of learning objective or a state standard if you want to, and kind of select whether you're looking for some serious business or if you like the absurd and hilarious. I'm normally doing the absurd and hilarious personally. Um, and then there was also the forecast tool, which is a fun one where if you're someone that likes to think ahead, the lesson plan forecast tool is a tool where you can upload a lesson that you're planning on doing, and then it'll actually generate potential positive student outcomes and potential negative student outcomes, and then how you can boost those outcomes or prevent the negative ones from occurring. And those are like the three main tools that I had created back when we spoke last. And all of my energy has been really from that point all poured into my own version of a lesson plan generator. And I know there's so many tools out there that create lesson plans now, which is awesome because so many of them are free, easily accessible, and I think it's a beautiful gift to educators. And my personal conviction about Auto Classmate was to make things free, accessible, as best as I possibly can without going into a bunch of debt. So uh, I did over the past couple of months, I've spent a whole lot of time on my version of a lesson plan generator. And it will do all kinds of things, but the real power comes actually after you create the lesson plan for Auto Classmate. And so, Fonz, if it sounds good to you, I'd love to preview the lesson plan generator and kind of what happens after you create a lesson plan in Auto Classmate.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're here for. And like I said, from March 28th when you were first on, and now we're here August 15th. I'm definitely excited about this and the work that you continue to do. So please share away, my friend.
Awesome. Okay, well, the lesson plan generator tool, this is a freemium tool, which means that it's completely free to anyone and everyone. You don't have to sign up for an account. You don't have to have a credit card information plugged in or anything like that. And for free, you get access to the model GPT 3.5 from OpenAI, which this is like the most common platform model that people use right now. If you use the free version of ChatGPT, this is kind of what you'd be used to experiencing. But what I've done is kind of made it as simplified as we possibly could with my focus of keeping things aligned with state standards, or at least offering the option for you to instantaneously align something with state standards. So this is freemium because again, GPT 3.5, this version completely free to everyone. But if you're a paid member on the account, you do actually have unlimited access to GPT-4, which creates usually much more robust lesson plans or responses. So when you do sign up for an account, you get access to GPT-4. So I'm just going to do a quick test here. So I'll test it as if I'm going to use it like I normally do. I'm an 8th grade teacher, and let's say I want my students to learn how to identify the theme of a poem. That's a common thing that we try desperately to get our 8th graders to know. And then there's this other fun thing we can do is we can add custom prompting or instructions. So let's say some folks like to format their lesson plan using the 5 E's. I've heard a lot of feedback, and that's like a common format that people like to use. I'm an ELA teacher, and am going to align this automatically to North Carolina state standards. And so when you click generate, it will start creating this lesson plan that's going to be formatted using the 5 E's. So there you can see the engage section, the explore section, the explain section, whatever format you're looking for, it'll start to create for you. And again, it's going to try to align the content, the activities, all with whatever state standards. So in this case, as a North Carolina teacher, this is how ours are formatted. That's 8th grade. Reading literature, point 2, and RL point 4 there. So this is a simple version of it. Again, you can go in and use GPT-4 as well. You could type in different parameters, the same parameters, and create a lesson there. But for the sake of this demo, what I want to do is actually show you what happens after you save this. So all you have to do is give your lesson plan a title, whatever you'd like for it to be. And what happens is it'll create this unique page for you. This is a fully editable page. I integrated this. I like it. It's kind of it took me a while to do this, but I really am kind of persnickety about how you format things. And so I integrated this editor on here. It's kind of like a Google Docs type editor, but it gives you the ability to, you can bold text, do bullet points and lists. You can add tables, you can highlight things, whatever kind of formatting that you're looking for, you're able to add quickly and easily within your lesson plan. But the power now comes from two main things. The first one is this little chatbot over here that I call instructional AI. Instructional AI, it's like ChatGPT, except that it's custom and fine-tuned to act like an instructional coach. Plus, it's fully aware of this entire lesson plan all at the same time. That means that you can ask instructional AI any kind of question about this specific lesson plan, and it will assist you in any way that you could think of. Plus, as an instructional coach, it'll usually ask you like follow-up questions. So I can just give a quick demo here. Let's see. Um, I want to find a good place where I could ask a good question here. Let's say, can you directly explain how the evaluate section aligns with the standards? And what'll happen is that the chatbot will start to take a look at this evaluate section that we had generated and go into more detail about the connections between that specific component of the lesson plan to the standards that it also suggested. And then, as I mentioned, as an instructional coach chatbot, it's going to sometimes ask you follow-up questions that you can, or you can simply not ask the questions. I don't think that it has its feelings hurt. I've not placed that within the chatbot quite yet, but it's going to ask like, would you like further clarification on how to evaluate the sections and how they align with the standards? You could ask anything from, asking for potential poems that would work well with this lesson plan, to modifications, to anything you could think of. This chatbot is completely aware of this entire lesson and is designed to be like an instructional coach for you. That's kind of that was my first big step with the my lesson plan generator, was also providing a chatbot that's simultaneously aware of all of the good educational resources that have been out in the internet for so long, but also aware of this lesson plan that you just created. You can edit this, and the chatbot automatically will know those updates as well. So that means that this is fully customizable. You have a custom chatbot that is at your disposal all the time. Some folks, though, they might not have the time or the desire to go through the process of having a conversation with the chatbot. And so I made two different kind of add-on tools that are related to every single lesson plan you create. And they're basically miniature suites of tools for this specific lesson plan. You have a suite of tools for enrichment activities, which I'll go through in a second, and then also differentiation activities. Enrichment basically has these are the ones that I currently have uploaded, and this is actually a huge shout out to William from Groovy Education. These are based off of prompts that he and I kind of collaborated on to create together. But essentially, what we're looking at here is a tool that will know the lesson plan you're currently looking at. And if I say wanted to get some higher order thinking questions that are creative questions, what will happen is when I click generate, it's going to start producing higher order thinking questions that are specifically tailored to this direct lesson plan that you now can save to this lesson plan, which then means once I have saved it to this lesson plan, it will always be connected to it and at your disposal underneath the lesson plan. Super easy to access, which means in one given lesson plan, you can create an unlimited supply of things like engagement ideas, higher order thinking questions, group projects, contextual learning, would you rather, all of these good things with a click of a button. You don't have to do much typing on these types of tools.
Okay.
Similarly, sorry, I know that I'm just like going and going and going,
No,
but
no, no, no. Like, I just wanted to kind of stop and pause there because I am blown away by this, and you mentioned, there are, many tools out there, but the fact that this one took the time, and or you were able to get it to where it ties to state standards. And as you're doing this, Logan, I'm doing it myself over here. And 44H for our fourth graders here in the state of Texas, when you're working with fractions, I popped that in. I got my lesson plan. And then when you shared this part with me, the differentiation option, going into intellectual, going into a visual learning ideas, and what it gives me is in line with the way that we should be teaching this based on the standard, but it also gives those ideas to the teachers. And this is definitely amazing. And the fact that you have it all built in and integrated together, and the fact that you can go in and change it if you need to and edit this, I don't even know. I'm speechless right now, and I'm just really excited to share this with my colleagues tomorrow and be like, "Hey, we need to check this out, and let me show you a couple things here because this is some really great stuff, Logan. This is amazing."
Oh, thanks, Fonz. Yeah, I know that, there are a lot of tools out there, and I love and encourage people to go check them all out. The thing that I really spent all my time kind of creating with this lesson plan generator isn't just, hey, there's the prompt, you change your few parameters, and that's it. It's okay, we have the lesson. Now let's make it really, really powerful. Let's add to it. Let's make sure that we can differentiate for every student. Let's enrich this in any possible way that we could imagine so that we can meet the needs of all students within a classroom, all in one kind of easy, fast-paced way. Um, and that's partially why I've not created a whole lot of new tools. Is I've been spending time on just focusing on making this one the best it could be, and that's kind of my plan moving forward, is to continue making the lesson plan generator and all the tools associated with it better and better and better as time goes on.
Absolutely. Well, let's go back real quick because I know that you weren't done, and I'm sorry I interrupted your flow because you definitely had that, but I had to really share my enthusiasm about this because I was just blown away by it. All right, so
No,
yeah, go ahead,
I'm
Logan.
glad. Well, no, so the enrichment, basically, I'll continue to add enrichment tools to this suite. So that means in this drop-down menu, you'll see more and more tools added as things go on. But then there's another suite of tools that's for differentiation. And this has to do with, like, if you need to fully modify your lesson plan, or maybe create scaffolding or flexible pacing, things about Bloom's taxonomy, or if you need to kind of cater towards visual learners or kinesthetic learners, you can easily do that. And if you need to, you can kind of target specific demographics of students. So if you have students with ADHD within your classroom, you could create auditory learning ideas for those types of students. And again, just like the enrichment tool suite, it's aware of the entire lesson plan, and it'll go through and add auditory learning ideas that are tailored towards just this lesson plan at a given time. Um, and this is something where you're able to just like rapidly regenerate things if you do not like the responses that you're given, or if you're wanting to just like, you don't even have to save them. If you want to just like switch between them, you want some quick auditory ideas, but then you're like, well, maybe I don't want auditory. What I really want is kinesthetic ideas. I want these kids moving. Then you can just change the drop down menu, get the new one. And when you find one that you like, save it to your account and it'll be stored there. This is like an unlimited feature. You can add as many of these as you want to any lesson plan, and they're always going to be stored and connected in that kind of way. Um, so I think that that's kind of the general overview here of the lesson plan generator. Is once you create a lesson plan, then things can get a whole lot more robust with this chatbot that's always aware of the entire lesson plan, plus these kind of one-click tools for enrichment and differentiation that are saved to this specific lesson plan that are always going to be at your disposal.
I I am speechless. I am blown away. I am excited. I am thrilled. This is what it's all about, finding solutions to, those problems that we've had, or, just those barriers as educators, things that discourage you at the end of the day, at the end of the long work week, because you're talking, I mean, you're with your students all week long, you're providing instruction. And then at the end of the week, it's like, okay, we got to prep for the following week, Or, you know what, I just got a new student, and this particular student, even though I'm a fourth grade teacher, may come in with a third grade math, reading, science level. And then you feel overwhelmed. But now, like you said, and like you shared here, being able to use and leverage the power of this technology to put your mind at ease and say, okay, I can take my lesson, I can take my standard, or I can go to that specific grade. If I'm, like, for example, in Texas, I can go to third grade, find something that lines up with that fourth grade standard that may be at that third grade level, and start closing those gaps, personalize the learning for my student instantaneously, without me having to spend hours or relying on additional supports or support personnel that may not have the time to come in, and help support the student. And I think that this is phenomenal, and this is something that is definitely going to help, number one, ease that load for our teachers. I'm about subtracting anything that we can, and taking things off their plate. So this, Logan, is definitely a huge game changer. And Tanya has definitely been popping in the emojis, and she's excited. She's been retweeting on, to her district on Twitter too as well. And so it just very exciting. So let me ask you something, because I know she did put here, as far as dual language. Does Auto Classmate support, or, more than one language?
Sure. Yeah. So when it comes to specifically the differentiation component here, the tool does it is aware of different languages, and so if you have students that are, they don't speak English as their first language, if you have a different one, it will create activities or differentiation material that's specifically for that specific language. This is like one of the most common questions I'm getting back. And it's something that I'm desperately trying to kind of make even more direct so that folks that do have like dual language classrooms where they're able to offer those types of resources kind of quickly and easily.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Logan, thank you. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, we're still not done yet. I know, like, I just kind of wanted to ask you a couple more questions before we kind of wrap up. But seeing what you have just shown us, and, the work that you have put into this, and obviously your district, just hearing, from what I hear, for that admin to use your platform, I'm sure that they have buy-in, they're understanding, they're seeing what's there, and the fact that they have somebody like you in the district that can help support and explain, what exactly, the AI is, and what it's doing, and what it can do, and all that help. That is huge. So I wanted to ask you, as far as looking ahead, what are your plans for the future of Auto Classmate?
Great question. And it's always up in the air. I have gone back and forth at times of like kind of throwing in the towel and just being like, you know what, there's so many tools out there. I don't know if I really should like keep trying here. But the more conversations I have with folks like yourself, or the more conversations I have with my principal or leadership within our school district, and the more encouragement that I'm hearing to like keep doing it and keep expanding, the more I'm invested in it. So I do have plans for Auto Classmate, and some of those are kind of publicly faced on the website right now with the tools that I'm currently developing that should be launching relatively soon. But my plan for Auto Classmate right now is to maybe not necessarily build a bunch of new tools, but to make the tools that I do launch extraordinary and make them robust and powerful and the best that they can be, and to receive the feedback I am receiving from the users, the paid users on Auto Classmate, to listen to what their requests are and to change things and add things to make their experience even better. But then also, meeting the needs of the teachers that are in my school building and the administrators that are in my school building. They have wonderful ideas, and I'm excited to continue to build and to change things on Auto Classmate to serve those needs.
Excellent. Well, you did mention something, and just to clarify also, and just give more information to our audience, and for teachers or educators or districts that may be interested in, diving into Auto Classmate. You did mention that there was a small fee. What can you tell us exactly what the price point is for to be able to access the tools that are available?
Sure. Yeah. So there are a couple things. The lesson plan generator that is free is GPT 3.5 version. You do get to save those lesson plans, and it creates a unique URL for you that you can hold on to and share. But there are a couple things that are the premium version of the lesson plan generator, and that's GPT-4, the instructional AI chatbot, that's a premium feature, and those enrichment differentiation tools are also premium features. So the free version right now does not have the enrichment and differentiation tools associated with it. That takes a lot of tokens for those that are in the AI world, because it's basically taking the entire lesson plan at one given time and using it as part of the prompt or the context for that prompt. And every time you click that button, it's eating away, eating away, eating away. And so it's kind of intensive to run one individual lesson plan. So all of that is included as a member on Auto Classmate, and right now my membership is $10 a month. I am offering, though, if you have a group of teachers, I'm very interested in speaking with groups and districts and schools. I have a pricing model built out for districts at this stage that am willing to share and have been sharing it with others. But if cost is ever an issue, I love, love, love when people message me on social media or send a message through the website and kind of explain their situation and see if, well, maybe if we can't pay for that membership, if I could get your feedback, that's also super valuable to me. And so I love working with teachers and getting their feedback and seeing how I can also meet their unique needs as well.
Wow, thank you so much, Logan. And that's huge for a lot of educators, but also the fact that you are putting AutoClassmate in the hands of educators that are willing to get clicky with it, that are willing to use it, that are willing to experiment, but not only that, but really give you the feedback. So, like you said, your vision and your mission, which I can really see since March 28th up until now, the fact that you really went deep with what you have, and your goal to make what you have the best that it's out there. I'm definitely seeing it. We definitely pick up on that from you as well, and just the work that you're putting in behind this. So definitely very, very excited about the work that you're doing, the work that you continue to do. And I'm excited to see and hear where Auto Classmate will be. You were here but about 5 months ago, around there. So I want to, I'm excited about what the next 5 months and what the next year will bring. And so I'm really excited for you, my friend. Keep doing what you're doing. And as always, you always have an open invite, and you can come back to the show and then show us the next big tool and the next big iteration of Auto Classmate that you have created. And so, really exciting times. Thank you, Logan, for what you're doing. Thank you so much for using your background in software development and your passion for education and merging it, because that too also is truly inspirational. And the other thing that I want to leave you with is always be encouraged. Don't let that imposter syndrome get in the way. Oftentimes we are our own worst critics per se, but those ideas that you're coming up with, that you're creating, would never exist if you never done them or did them. And we definitely need more of that inspiration and more of that work that you're doing in our education space. So keep doing what you're doing, my friend. I want to keep you encouraged. All right. Well, Logan, before we wrap up, as always, you know that we always end the show with our last three questions, just to kind of lighten the mood here towards the end. And I know you were here 5 months ago, and now things have changed. So I'm sure that your answers have changed too as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing what your answers will be to the following three questions. But before I ask you our questions, I definitely want to give a big shout out to Alongside Care, who has been a sponsor of my EdTech Life. Thank you so much, Alongside Care, for believing in our mission of connecting educators and creators one show at a time. And educators, I definitely encourage you to go visit alongside.care, alongside.care, because they are a wonderful platform that provides mental health support that is personalized for every student. It is device agnostic, so it'll work from any device. You don't need any special equipment or anything at all whatsoever. Students log on as long as the district provides those logins for them, and it also doesn't put a burden on teachers or put a burden on counselors. It's a wonderful platform where students can go in, dive in, have a nice chat with the chat bot, but it also gives actionable feedback. So please make sure you check out alongside.care for those needs that our students are really having. And again, we always want to make sure we have healthy minds, healthy students, and that we want to definitely have a healthy education space. So please make sure you check them out. All right, Logan, here we go. Follow the last three questions of the show. And again, as we know, kryptonite was Superman's weakness. So as soon as that little bit of kryptonite came close to Superman, oh, Superman just kind of cringed and just kind of folded up. So I want to ask you, Logan, in the current state of AI in education, what would you say is your current AI kryptonite?
It's such a good question, Fonz. I think that there are probably too many for me to choose from currently. So I'm going to kind of fuse this with a goal I have kind of this year. But my kryptonite when it comes to AI is I'm very interested and super scared and nervous about how I can use and how educators can use AI to provide feedback for students. I know that there's a lot of potential when it comes to using AI to give feedback, and I plan on doing that, but I'm absolutely terrified of it. And I think it's becoming a weakness of mine because I care so much about the personalized touch of feedback to students that I don't ever want that to get lost. Even if it's, I need to grade 70 papers tonight. I know I could use AI to really, really make that quick work. But where is my personal touch going to come from when I'm giving that feedback to the student? So I'm not sure if that's like the perfect answer there, but that's where my head has kind of been spinning this week so far.
All right, that is excellent. And you do bring up a lot of great points because those are definitely valid concerns as far as losing some of that personalization and and that's what that's as learning engineers or teachers, that's what we're here for. It's like really to guide our students, give them that feedback, that encouragement, or just kind of direct them in the right way, as far as our instruction. And it's that personal touch. So valid point, Logan, valid point. All right, question number two, Logan. Since the last time, let's see if your answer might have changed. Maybe not, maybe it has. But if you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it be and why?
Another really wonderful question. I'm trying to remember what I even said last time. It'll probably be different this time, though. Um, my billboard today is it's okay to be you. And that's what I've been telling my students between yesterday and today is when they come into my classroom, it's okay to be you. That's all I want is for you to be you. I promise this year I'm going to be me. And sometimes that might be annoying, hopefully sometimes a little bit goofy and quirky, but I think that the world deserves more people that are just going to be themselves all the
Excellent.
time.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Logan. All right. And the last question, Logan, since the last time, maybe I don't know if it's changed because hobbies hardly change too much, but maybe there's a different hobby that you might have picked up. But if you can turn one of your hobbies or favorite activities outside of your current work into a full time profession, what would it be?
So I can't remember if I said this last time. Uh, my uh, my background before I was in education, before I was in web development and all of that stuff, I was actually a backpacking guide in Colorado for a summer. And my wife and I thru hiked the Appalachian Trail when we first got married. And that's backpacking and camping is like what we do to feel really alive together with our two dogs. And if I could turn that into my job and profession, I would be very tempted, because it is, it's just so much fun. I love the difficulty, but also the beauty that you get to experience, when you're outside.
Awesome. Great answer. And I can definitely see that, just beautiful sceneries all the time, and you're either guiding a group of people or just, out there, you and your wife just having a great time with the dogs, yeah, that's life right there too. Well, Logan, thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you returning to the show. Thank you so much for everything you've shared. And again, as always, I reiterate, the passion that you bring, the work that you've done. You're doing some great things for our educators, and you're doing some great things for overall in the education space. So keep doing what you're doing. Definitely stay encouraged, my friend. And thank you so much for everything. Again, this is a great bond, great friendship. And again, as always, I'm always here to help. And so I'm, like I mentioned, I'm looking forward to see what will happen in the next 5 months and in the next year with Auto Classmate. So exciting times, my friend. And for all our audience members, Tanya, I know you were here with all the amazing comments. And for all our audience members that are going to be checking this out on the replay, please make sure that you visit our website at myedtech.life, where you can check out this amazing episode and the other 219 wonderful episodes with amazing educators, founders, creators, education practitioners, and that you can choose and pick from and take some of those knowledge nuggets and sprinkle them onto what you are already doing great. So, again, thank you as always for all of your support. Please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you follow us on your favorite podcast player. Visit our YouTube channel. Please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That means a lot to us here at the show as we continue to grow. And we definitely want to share these amazing conversations with anybody in the education space so we can continue to inspire them and just bring just some great content and wholesome content to our space. So thank you. And if you would love to contribute to our mission, please make sure you stop by our merch store, pick up yourself a cap, or pick yourself up a cap, pick yourself up a shirt. Conference season is about to start for the fall and so on. Maybe you just want something to lounge around in. Whatever the case is, we appreciate all your support. As you know, that will go back into the show so we can continue to bring you some amazing content, some amazing conversations, and amazing guests. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And as always, my friends, don't forget, until next time, stay techie.